What's up, everybody? It's your favorite shaman, Shaman Ta, back with a word for the day, but a little something different. This will be, a little short, just about me. Wanting you guys to get to know the person behind the voice of your favorite shaman, Shaman Ta. And I want to drop a couple of these little nuggets as this podcast series goes on to just share my own spiritual experience and what I've been through, and how the energy of God has helped me in all of these different ways. And I thought I could kick this one off with talking about how I met God, you know? Um, and you're like, I'm going to tell you, what are you talking about? This sounds crazy already. But, you know, to me, I truly feel like you cannot walk the walk and be a spiritual leader if you have not had a deep relationship and understanding of God's energy. And the only way that you can get that is through your own personal experience. I truly believe that you cannot just read a book and understand God. I truly believe that you cannot listen to someone else's story and understand God. It's a personal experience between you and the divine energy of God, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it. And so, in my particular experience, I was going through my shaman training, and this was during COVID. So, I have been meditating every single day. And an important thing that I learned, in the very beginning was about breath, and how breath is really our medicine that we can give to ourselves. And, when you have a very chaotic mind, your breath is what you use to calm your mind down. Just taking a deep breath sometimes can really change you from being in a super stressful situation to being more at peace. It literally lowers your nervous system, and brings, more oxygen into your brain, which helps you regulate all the things that are going on in your body. And so I was so focused on, learning how to breathe properly, learning how to quiet my mind, learning how to meditate so that I could take this shamanic journey, which was like a meditative journey, to connect with the deepest part of myself, my spirit. And so I realized even through my meditation how much programming I had to break. I grew up Baptist, I grew up in the church, and there was so much fear based education, even from a young age. I learned about the devil, I learned about hell. I was scared into being a better person. It's like, be a good person, or here's your consequence. You're going to burn in hell forever, kind of thing. And, that was dropped into my subconscious, and I carried that fear and that shame with me. I carried that understanding of I have to do something, be a certain person, follow a set of steps, or read a certain book in order to earn God's love. And I realized, that just simply wasn't true. And I had to learn that and realize that through my own experience, though. There was nothing that anyone told me to say, no, take God loves you unconditionally. It doesn't matter what you do, who you are. You kind of have to learn that for yourself. Nobody can tell you, you know, that God loves you unconditionally until you experience what that unconditional love feels like. And so in this particular meditation, I'm outside, and all of my meditations that were impactful and really crazy and that changed my life were outdoors. So if you are starting to meditate or doing yoga or doing any kind of body mind connection practice like qigong or anything like that, do it outside. It's just a great vibe, and you have all the beautiful elementals like the trees and the mountains and even the wind and the sun that really give you the high vibrations to connect to your higher self. And so I'm outside, and I close my eyes and I start my meditation. And I still was holding on to this fear of the unknown. I was so afraid that I was going to go somewhere that I didn't want to be. I was going to see something that was going to scare the crap out of me, and then I'll never be the same again. And this was my programming from the past of being afraid of stepping into a space that I don't know what's going to happen. And I remember my shaman training in recognizing that when you make a conscious choice about tapping into yourself, diving into yourself, journaling, introspection, that kind of thing, where you are tapping into your spirit and the deepest part of you, everything that you do is for your highest good. everything that you see, the thoughts that come up, the emotions that you experience, right? All of that is for your highest good to help you elevate and grow. And I had to remind myself that this meditative experience was a good thing for me, and it was really getting me to a place that I needed to be in my life to heal, to grow, to elevate and be a brighter version of me. And so as soon as I remembered, what my favorite shaman Raven told me of, this is for your highest good. This experience is for your highest good. At that moment, I took a deep breath, and I said, I'm letting go. I'm ready. And as soon as I said that, it was like I was shot out of a cannon, you know? And I felt my face being pushed back by wind, like I was traveling through time and space. And mind you, I'm still in my meditative state, sitting there outside underneath my breezeway, just me. But I feel myself traveling. And for the first time, I actually felt like I left my body, and traveled to a new place. And I was moving quick. I'm like, I can feel the wind against my face. I feel my skin being pushed back like I'm really flowing through space and time. And that within itself was a crazy experience. I'm like, oh my God, where am I going? And I just kept breathing and remembering that this is for my highest good. This is for my highest good. And I finally had to let go of the programming of the past, of being afraid of things that I don't see, being afraid of the dark, right? Being afraid of the unknown, and knowing that God got me always. God is always supporting me, protecting me, guiding me. So there's no need for me to be afraid, kind of thing. And so I'm continuing to travel. I'm traveling, I'm traveling, I'm traveling. And then suddenly I feel like I'm in the clouds, in a heaven archetype, we'll say. And that's when I felt this overwhelming feeling wash over me, like someone dumped a gigantic bucket of water, something that was 10 feet tall, bucket of water. Because when I felt this energy flow through me, it was overwhelming. I felt so overwhelmed with feelings and emotions, so much so like I start to cry uncontrollably. I'm bawling. I'm like, oh my God, crying because I can't even control what I'm doing right now. I'm bawling, right? My body starts to tremble. I'm shaking and I can feel the energy flowing through my eyes, through my hair, through my skin. I'm shaking, I'm shaking, I'm shaking, I'm trembling. And it wasn't a scary feeling. It wasn't a painful feeling. It was a warm energy, that was flowing through me though, uncontrollably. And what was weird about it was how strong it was. It was so overwhelming. Like I felt like I couldn't breathe. It felt like literally a fire hose being shot through my body, through my mouth, through my eyes, through my skin, where I cannot even speak. All I can do is cry. And there was this feeling of love, of like kindness, of support, like, a feeling that you imagine you get from your parents. Like if you had the perfect parents, like that feeling, it was like, I love you so much, is what it felt like. And, I can't even describe into words. It's difficult for me to actually put into words what I felt. But all I can say is that it was a feeling of love. When you love something, there's a feeling that you get, right? It was that feeling, but multiplied by a million. That feeling of love, but being shot through me overwhelmingly so much, I'm just shaking, crying, feeling this energy flow through me. And I knew that that was the energy of God, you know. And it was hard for me to understand. It wasn't, you know, my mind wasn't even thinking anything. Surprisingly, I didn't have any thoughts because I was so overwhelmed. I'm just trying to breathe. I'm like, oh my God, I can't breathe. I can't take a deep breath. I'm just overwhelmed. I'm shaking. And kind of in the church, they call this, catching the spirit, right? Of you're literally catching the energy of God and it's flowing through your body and there's nothing you can do, right? You're just overwhelmed with the feeling of love, you know? And that was really the first time that I felt that kind of love. It was so overwhelming. It was so beautiful that it made me cry so much, you know? And I was crying because I've never felt anyone love me like that. And it was so amazing to be loved like that, you know? And that helped me really understand what the energy of God was, you know? It helped me know that God is not about separation. There's nothing that I have to earn. There's no one that I have to be other than myself because God loves me that much, just as me, you know? Yes, I was meditating. Yes, that allowed me to connect deeper to that energy of God, right? To really understand it. But it was the feeling of warmth, of comfort, of support, and unconditional love that was so strong, it overwhelmed my being, you know? It physically overwhelmed me. I'm trembling, shaking, crying, can't breathe, you know? And that was the energy of God. It is so beyond us. You know, that's what makes spirituality so tricky and so confusing. It's so personal, you know? That was my personal experience of God to show me how much God truly loved me, you know? I was loved so much that it was beyond my physical being. It was beyond my understanding. There was no way that I could even fathom that amount of love. So much love that it consumes you, you know? All of these things that I was taught in the past, there's no way that that could be true if God loves me as much as I'm feeling right now, you know? And that really helped change my mindset about spirituality, change my mindset and break the programming of what I've been taught for so long, that you're a dirty rag in the eyes of God. You have to earn God's love and you have to follow this script that I have defined for you. No, you know, God loved me so much just as I was, following my own script, you know? And once I learned that truth, it was actually kind of difficult to come back, you know? After feeling that amount of love, it's like going to a Michelin star restaurant and then going to McDonald's. Like, you know, even if you loved McDonald's, it's not going to hit the same after you go to that Michelin star restaurant, you know? And this was a Michelin star restaurant that was beyond me. It was the best meal that I ever had, a meal that I didn't even know I needed. You know, it healed me because I think that deep down, because of the programming that I had growing up, I felt not worthy. You know, I felt like just me being by myself, I'm not worthy for this amount of love, you know. So that manifested at work and it manifested in my relationships. And I was, you know, people pleasing and too altruistic, right? Giving my soul, myself, my everything to people to earn their love and to prove to myself that I was worthy of their love. And God was showing me that I was loved beyond my understanding already, you know. That really helped me be a better person, be a better shaman, be more at peace, you know, because when I had that understanding that God loved me that much, you know, everything else was like water under the bridge. You know what I'm saying? Like, it helped me really understand that this energy is the energy that's supporting us. It is so beyond our understanding. We will never understand it truly, you know. And that's really on purpose, right? You know, we're here to understand ourselves, understand this human experience. We're not really here to understand the energy of God. God is supporting us. God's like, look, I'm going to send you information through feelings. So you will feel me, you know? You will feel me sending you a sign when you're around people you shouldn't be around. You will feel me sending you that comfort and that warmth when you're around people you should be around. That is me loving you enough to guide you, to help you, to support you, you know? And of course, you could dive into that energy and try to figure out what that is and why God loves us so much, you know, or you can just accept that love, right? And use that as your foundation to move forward in life, you know. And me meeting God and that energy of God changed my life, you know. I realized that, you know, a lot of people won't even understand that. you know? A lot of people will try to tell me that I'm wrong or say that I'm lying or not believe me. And it's like, I don't care. I had that experience. And I would hope that anyone could have that experience of getting that overwhelming shower of love from God, because it wasn't until then that I felt worthy enough to be here, to be in this physical human experience. I felt unloved for so long in my life. I felt conditional love from my parents and my family, and my friends, and people taking advantage of me and people judging me and hating on me. I had always felt like I have to earn my place, especially growing up as a minority, right? Where a lot of us are taught you already have a strike against you because you're black or because you're brown. You have to work harder than everybody else. And so there was this programming of me not being good enough, that God broke. God showed me I am loved beyond my being, beyond my understanding, just because I'm here. And having that love as my foundation allowed me to have that as my bar and my understanding of what real love is. Now, of course, that's a huge, exaggerated, expanded version of love because it's God's love. And honestly, coming back, it was hard for me to want to be in this human physical experience because I'm like, man, I'm never going to feel that again. And I, even in my meditations after that, it was like I was chasing the high, like, I'm going to meet God again. Come on, come on, you know. But it was more so like my initiation, to being a shaman. It was like God showing me that this is who I am. Hold this in your heart. Use this as your foundation so that when you are speaking to people and when you are working with people, you are leading with love and compassion. This love, this unconditional agape love. And I had to kind of tailor myself because I started measuring my friends and family, my relationships to that love, and they will never win, right? No one is going to love you like God, and that's facts. Everybody has conditions on their love. There are no conditions with God. You are loved beyond your belief, beyond your understanding. You are loved so much that God will allow you to think that you aren't loved, because God's like, I'm going to love you anyway. And I'm going to keep showing you. You don't have to prove anything to me because I'm going to love you anyway. And having that understanding really helped me become a spiritual leader, helped me lead with love in my life, lead with love and compassion. Of course, it's not easy. And of course, people trigger you and, they piss you off, frankly, and you have to tap back in to yourself, and give yourself the comfort and the peace, to stand on. And I had to kind of reframe my mind of I had been asking all these people to love me like God. I had been asking them to demonstrate their support for me. Prove to me, that you love me when I'm already loved. So much so, I don't even have to ask for anything. I'm loved just because I exist, and having that foundation made it possible for me to stop accepting less than, stop begging people for love, right? Stop people pleasing so much just because you think you need to earn some kind of love. You already have it. You are more than the labels that people put on you. You're more than the judgment, right? And the measuring and the status and the likes. You're more than all of that. You're especially worth more than how people treat you. And that was one programming I had to break is like, stop measuring myself by people's response to me or how people have treated me because everybody's on their own journey. Everybody's trying to find themselves, find peace, find love, find freedom, find their growth, find healing. And sometimes you are a casualty of someone else's journey. And, if we can learn to not measure our love and ourselves by other people and their response to us and what they do to us, we'll know that we're always loved, we're always supported, and we're always guided. And when you know that in your heart and your soul, you're not going to beg for love, you're not going to lower your boundaries for love, you're not going to cut into yourself and hurt yourself for love because you already have it. And it's such a powerful thing to know in your heart and your soul that you're loved beyond your belief, beyond your understanding. You're guided. You have a best friend that you can talk to 24/7. You have the best dad, the best mom, That's God. You need love and support, God got you. You need guidance, God got you. You need to move a boundary out of your way, God got you. And there are some lessons that we need to learn, and God has us. And sometimes we have to learn those the hard way. But, one lesson, at least for me, is that God loves us unconditionally. And that has been the foundation of my life. That's why in my music, I am the shaman of love. I run Spirit of Love, my nonprofit. My first album was Red Love. Album I'm working on now is Love Frequency. Love has become the foundation of my life. And all of that is because I met God, the greatest love of my life. And I'm hoping that one day y'all will meet God too. Or if you already have, tap more into yourself. The more you can get closer to yourself, have those silent moments of just you listening, sitting, talking, make God a part of your life, because God is a part of your life. All you have to do is become aware of what God is already doing. There's no off switch with God's love. It's so overwhelming. We can't even fathom it. We can't even understand it. All we can do is accept it, and use it as a stepping stone in our life. Use it as a foundation for us to stand on. You are loved. You are supported. You don't need to beg, earn, scratch, kill, blood, sweat, and tears. None of that for God's love. You're already loved. Tap into yourself and feel that love. Feel that peace that exists within yourself, because that is your spiritual connection with God. Cheers.
Leave your expectations at the door.